possibly actually one of the most racially diverse schools in the U.S. at the time. It had over, I think it was actually over 120 different representative countries at this school. It was so diverse that Charlie himself was actually a minority among his fellow students. So there was more people from other countries than from the U.S. there at that school. So Charlie found himself in the minority among his fellow students, which helped him shape his appreciation for different cultures and perspectives. So a very interesting thing that he got to experience there at this school.
Mm, yeah, that's awesome. So from a young age, Charlie was interested in pop politics. He joined the Boy Scouts of America and it actually achieved the top rank of Eagle Scout, which was pretty awesome. That was kind of when we did Boy Scouts, that was the pinnacle, you know. There's a lot of work to get there. So
Are you an
and his
Eagle Scout?
no, I didn't get it.
No.
I wasn't an
Oh,
Eagle Scout.
oh, okay.
I ended up like only going up a couple ranks to like I think it was like Scout first class or something. It was very basic, but Eagle Scout takes a lot of
Okay.
work. It takes years. I believe it takes years. But it's actually like helps you get jobs and is because of the actual amount of work and effort you have to put into getting that. So I mean, you could put it on your resume and if you wanted to. So so in his junior year of high school, he volunteered for the successful U.S. Senate campaign of Illinois Republican Mark Kirk, no relation. In his senior year, he even created a campaign to revert a price increase for cookies at his school. So that's pretty interesting. Um, and a Bible verse that kind of relates to this is Ecclesiastes 3:1, King James Version. Um, and it says, "To everything there is a season and a time to every purpose under the heaven." So that's just a Bible verse that reflects our life and how it just changes throughout. There's different seasons for everything. So
Yeah. So growing up, he had a pretty good upbringing there with his family, and was definitely raised with biblical values. But despite his numerous activities and ambitions growing up, Charlie's primary goal that he had set was to gain admission to the United States Military Academy at West Point, which, if you've heard of them, it's very difficult to get in. He had a solid recommendation for his application, had fulfilled the requirements, all of the requirements, which we'll talk about here in a second. But to his disappointment, he did not gain acceptance. He later described this life experience as the best thing that never happened to me. And we'll get into that a little bit. But Charlie's dreams were dashed, but he showed resilience in the face of his setback. His parents made it clear that he would need to take on the debt for college if he chose a different college, or a different uh, way to go. And so he was not prepared and did not have the desire to spend at that time $50,000 at another institution. I think the institutions mostly that he was looking at were of that range. Um, but some of the requirements to get into West Point um, is, number one, you have to be a U.S. citizen. Number two is you have to apply between your age of 17 to 22 years old on July 1st of the year you plan to enter. And so it's very specific. So if you're older than 22, no longer getting in. Your marriage status, you must be unmarried and not pregnant. He didn't have a problem with either of those. Financial responsibility, you must not be legally responsible for child support. Your SAT or ACT, those have to be at a certain level. Your GPA, you have to have a high GPA to get in. And you should have strong recommendations from teachers and others. So you have a lot of stuff to put together there. You should demonstrate leadership potential. Physical fitness, you must pass a physical fitness assessment. You must pass a medical exam administered by the Department of Defense. and you must apply for a nomination from a U.S. representative, senator, president, or vice president. So there's quite a bit there that you have to get in. I believe he had, from as far as I understood, he had all of that, but still did not get in. So you can go through that entire process and still be refused. And so it's an insane amount of work and effort. So, I mean, if I were to go through all of that, I would be pretty depressed if I didn't get in. So you can imagine the setback in his mind at the time.
Yeah, and the Bible verse to go along with all of that is Romans 8:28, and we know that all things work together for good to them that love God, to them who are called according to his purpose. But kind of going back to best thing that never happened to me. So,
Yeah.
um, so his rebound moment here. Let's get into it. Despite the unexpected turn in his plans, he ended up going forward and founding Turning Point USA in June of 2012. So they haven't been, I mean, they've been around for a while, but he started the organization with no money, no connections, and little knowledge of running a nonprofit. So he did have the support of a mentor. So that would be a key figure would be Bill Montgomery, who later became an Arizona Supreme Court justice. But he played a crucial role in just helping him do that. So fast forward to 2019, when when Turning Point USA had taken off, so it took about 7 years to really get momentum. So Charlie's net worth reached approximately 12 million, but for him it was never about money. His focus was on the impact he was making on the youth of America. So Charlie had no clear vision of what the Turning Point USA would ultimately become. He just simply had an idea and determination to pursue it. So, reflecting on his entrepreneurial journey, Charlie stated, "Any entrepreneur that says they knew what it was going to look like is lying to you." So, little nugget there.
Yeah, I think that's important too because, and I've heard a lot of people say it's like, well, this is what I imagined it to be, and maybe that's true in some cases, but a lot of times people don't. I don't think it's even possible for us to see the full picture of our impact. I know it's not impossible. I know it's impossible. So, but anyways, the present growth of TP USA continues to grow stronger every day, instilling conservative values in young men and women across the nation. The organization helps youth understand that they are not alone in their beliefs, and effectively, I think, fosters a shift in American democratic societal norms towards more conservative principles. I think TP USA has had a huge impact on that. So to wrap it all up, Charlie Kirk's journey is a testament to resilience, purpose, and the impact of grassroots. He started off very small with TP USA, and he just kept pressing forward, regardless how his different events turned out. He kept doing them, and they kept growing. And so his passion for empowering the next generation it aligns with the biblical teaching in Proverbs 11:14. Where no counsel is, the people fall, but in the multitude of counselors, there's safety. Through TPUSA, Charlie provides guidance and support for young conservatives, ensuring they have a platform to voice their beliefs and advocate for their values. And so Charlie's Kirk life story serves as an inspiration to many. And he's not even, he's I thought he was older than what he was. He's only 4 years older than me. I didn't realize that. So he's 31 years old. So yeah, he's done a lot in the first 30 years of his life. But yeah, it's definitely an inspiration to many, illustrating that your setbacks can lead to greater opportunities, and that sometimes things don't happen to you for a reason. And so um, that being
Yeah,
said, I think the Lord's used him in a special way, and I think it was God's will that he didn't uh, get to West Point, and I think he would agree with that. That his purpose is he could have never seen this coming, and so sometimes your setbacks are your actual places where you get the opportunity to push forward. So
Yeah.
I think too, like the Bible illustrates that each person has 10,000 instructors, and so taking that into account, obviously with Charlie, he stayed focused, just like with Turning Point USA. It started out as just one simple little idea, and because of that idea, it moved into a great, um, even political side to it, that where he has supported and conservative values throughout his life, and it's made him who he is.
Yeah. Well, I love that story. That's really cool to see that whole journey. I think Dalton was talking about doing possibly that story on JD Vance next week, so we'll see what he comes up with. But yeah, that's all for today, and we'll catch you guys next time.